Even go! 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 Go!
Yeah! Good job.
No, that we get.
Whew, good job. Squad needed it. Played Fever way. I love it. More of them.
What if the injury that was supposed to derail Caitlin Clark's rookie season was actually the best thing that ever happened to her? It's a strange thought, I know. An injury is supposed to be a setback, a moment of weakness, a halt in momentum. But on June 14th, in front of a record-breaking 2.2 million people, Caitlin Clark didn't just return to the court. She unleashed a version of herself the world wasn't remotely ready for. And it all started with 38 seconds of basketball. That completely defied belief, turning a comeback game into a masterpiece of revenge to understand the earthquake she caused. We have to go back to the moment the ground first cracked. It was May 24th, and the Indiana Fever were facing the same New York Liberty. So the Liberty weren't just the defending champions, they were playing the role of enforcers. This game was a brutal physical affair. It felt less like basketball and more like a 15-round prize fight. Clark was getting bumped, held, and challenged on every single possession. It was a classic welcome to the league message delivered with shoulders and elbows. During one particularly physical sequence, you could see it happen. A grimace, a slight limp. She had strained her quad. The injury felt symbolic. The unstoppable force from college had just run into the immovable object of the pros. A target had been placed squarely on her back, and the league's most physical team had just landed the first major blow. With Clark sidelined, the whispers started. It was the sound of silence from the Fever's offense, followed by the growing noise of doubt from the outside world. For 3 long weeks, she was a spectator. She watched from the bench as her team struggled to find its identity without its conductor. They went 2-3 in the 5 games she missed, looking disjointed and lost at times. Meanwhile, the New York Liberty were doing the exact opposite. They were a well-oiled machine, steamrolling every opponent in their path. They ripped off win after win, building an undefeated record and looking every bit the part of a dynasty in the making. The narrative was writing itself. The Liberty were untouchable. And maybe, just maybe, the Caitlin Clark hype was hitting its first real wall. Pundits and fans started to question everything. Could she really handle the physicality? Could the Fever build a winning team around her? A quad strain is a tricky thing for a player like Clark. It affects your explosive first step. It saps the power from your jump shot, and it creates a seed of hesitation where there was once pure confidence. The longer she was out, the louder the doubts became, but here's what almost no one understood. For those 3 weeks, Caitlin Clark wasn't just healing, she was plotting. She wasn't just resting, she was studying. This period of absence became her personal war room. While the world saw an injured rookie on the bench, she was transforming into a general preparing for a very specific battle. She told reporters she was diving into film, staying mentally sharp, and visualizing her return. But this was more than just generic athlete speak. She was breaking down every defensive possession from that first game against the Liberty. She was analyzing their rotations, studying their tendencies, and identifying the cracks in their seemingly impenetrable armor. She was replaying every physical encounter in her mind, not with frustration, but with cold, hard analysis. She was turning their greatest strength, their physicality, into a weakness she could exploit. The time off wasn't a setback, it was a strategic retreat. She was gathering intelligence for the perfect counter-dash attack. As the day of her return approached, she laid her cards on the table. In a pre-game interview, she made a statement that, in hindsight, was a chilling premonition of what was to come. She said, "I don't want to come back unless I'm 100% full go. Why would I be out there to play 20 minutes? I'm out there to win and give everything I have for this team." This wasn't just about being physically ready. This was a declaration of intent. There would be no grace period, no shaking off the rust. She wasn't coming back to test the waters. She was coming back to make waves. She had a plan, and she was about to execute it with surgical precision in front of a national audience. The game begins, and the atmosphere in the arena is electric. You can feel the tension. On one side, the undefeated defending champion, New York Liberty, radiating confidence and looking to prove that Clark's absence was the reason for their recent dominance. On the other, the Indiana Fever, a team desperate to prove they are more than just their record, with their superstar finally back in the lineup. The first few minutes are a feeling out process. Both teams trade baskets. The Liberty looks sharp, composed. They seem completely unfazed. It's the calm before the storm. The stage is perfectly set for a dramatic comeback, but no one could have possibly predicted the form it would take. Then it happens. A sequence of plays so audacious, so utterly dominant. It felt like a glitch in the simulation. It started innocently enough. Clark brings the ball up the court, crosses the half-court line, and just keeps going. With a defender in her vicinity, she pulls up from a mind-boggling 34 feet. That's not a deep three. That's a shot from another zip code. The ball arcs through the air and swishes through the net. The crowd lets out a roar, a mix of shock and delight. But before they can even process what they saw, she does it again. On the very next possession, she gets the ball, takes a couple of dribbles, and launches another one. It's time from 28 feet. Swish, the roar in the arena doubles. You can see players on both benches stand up, their faces painted with disbelief. This isn't just a hot streak, this is a statement. And she wasn't done. Seconds later, she gets the ball back one more time, takes a quick look at the basket from 31 feet out and lets it fly. The rotation is perfect. The arc is a thing of beauty. It drops through the net without even grazing the rim. 3 possessions, 3 shots from the logo, all in just 38 seconds. The arena absolutely explodes. That 38-second earthquake was more than just 9 points on the scoreboard. It was a calculated act of psychological warfare. You have to watch the ripple effect on the court. The confident posture of the Liberty players just melts away. It's replaced by shrugged shoulders and bewildered looks. Their coach, Sandy Brondello, is seen on the sidelines with a look of stunned respect. Even Breena Stewart, one of the best players on the planet, cracks a smile and nods her head. It was a nonverbal admission. Okay, you got us. We have no answer for that. In less than a minute, Clark had completely flipped the mental script of the game. She hadn't just announced her return. She had announced that the rules of engagement had changed. The court was now her territory, and she could score from anywhere on it. The Liberty's game plan, built on physical defense and controlling the paint, had just been rendered obsolete by a player who refused to play by conventional geographic boundaries, with the Liberty's defense completely disoriented. Forced to guard her the second she stepped over half-court, Clark revealed the next phase of her plan. This wasn't just about the long ball. The threat of her impossible range became the master key that unlocked everything else. With defenders flying out to meet her 30 feet from the basket, she used their aggression against them. She would blow by them with that explosive first step that everyone worried had vanished. Suddenly, the quad injury was a distant memory. She attacked the rim with a ferocious confidence, finishing in traffic or drawing fouls. But the most beautiful part was her vision. The attention she commanded created wide-open highways for her teammates. She started threading passes through gaps that didn't seem to exist. No-look dimes to a cutting Kelsey Mitchell. Perfectly placed entry passes to a ceiling Aaliyah Boston. She finished the night with 9 assists, and every single one felt like a work of art. She wasn't just a scorer. She was the ultimate offensive conductor, playing the Liberty's defense like a fiddle. This is where the story pivots from a solo performance to a team symphony. The space Clark created allowed her co-star, Kelsey Mitchell, to shine. Mitchell had been struggling with her shot early in the season, but in this game, something clicked. In the crucial fourth quarter, with the Liberty trying to claw their way back, Mitchell came alive, dropping 10 points to slam the door shut. She moved without the ball, cutting with purpose, and Clark found her every time. She finished with 22 points, a testament to a chemistry that was finally blossoming. It was a clear sign that this wasn't the Caitlin Clark show, but the Clark and Mitchell partnership. And while the guards were putting on a clinic from the perimeter, Aaliyah Boston was building a fortress in the paint. Facing the Liberty's formidable front court, Boston played the game of her life. She was a force on the glass, battling for every rebound and refusing to be pushed around. She finished with a powerful double-double, 10 points and 11 rebounds, and anchored the Fever's defense. Her physical presence inside was the perfect counterbalance to Clark's perimeter assault. Together, they formed an inside-out combination that the defending champions simply had no answer for. This wasn't a one-woman show. It was a tandem assault as. If that wasn't enough, the Fever were getting reinforcements. Sophie Cunningham also made a return from an ankle injury, and her impact was immediate and profound. She seamlessly integrated back into the lineup, providing another scoring threat and veteran savvy. Her box score might not jump out at you, but her plus-minus rating for the night was a staggering plus 31. That number tells a story. When she was on the floor, the Fever didn't just play well. They dominated. For the first time all season, the Indiana Fever were at full strength, and they looked like a completely different team. But the single most telling moment of the entire game, the unspoken proof of Clark's true impact, came in the fourth quarter. Coach Christy Sides took Clark out for a well-deserved rest. This was the moment where, in previous games, the team might have faltered. It was the moment the opponent would typically make their run. Instead, the opposite happened. The lead didn't shrink, it grew. The ball moved with purpose. Players cut, passed, and shot with a newfound confidence. They played like a cohesive unit that fully understood their identity. This was the ultimate validation. Caitlin Clark hadn't just returned to carry her team. She had returned and elevated them to a level where they could thrive even when she wasn't on the court. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard read 102-88. It was a statement win. But the numbers behind the number were even more telling. The Liberty, a defensive juggernaut, had not given up 100 points all season. Their 9-game winning streak was shattered. The Fever, as a team, hit a franchise record 17 three-pointers. 5 different players scored in double figures. This wasn't just a win. It was the demolition of an aura. The New York Liberty's crown of invincibility had been cracked. And the Indiana Fever were the ones holding the hammer. In the post-game press conference, a moment occurred that perfectly captured the magnitude of what had just happened. A reporter from Hong Kong took the microphone and informed Clark that a group of 5 fans, including himself, had flown 22 hours just to be there to watch her play. Clark's reaction was one of genuine shock and gratitude. "No way," she said, a huge smile on her face. "That's incredible. If you know them, tell them I say hello." In that small interaction, you could see the bigger picture. This performance wasn't just a headline on sports television in America. It was a global event. It was a moment that people would travel halfway around the world just to witness firsthand. In the end, the stat line of 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds doesn't tell the full story. The real story is how Caitlin Clark took a moment of physical weakness and turned it into a masterclass of psychological warfare and strategic brilliance. She absorbed the league's best punch, retreated to her war room, and returned with a plan that no one saw coming. She didn't just win a game. Redrew the map of the WNBA. The questions are no longer about her. They're about everyone else. How do you defend a player who turns time off into a strategic advantage? And more importantly, how do you stop a team that just discovered its soul? What do you think is next for the Fever now that they're at full strength? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the moments that define the game. Thanks for watching.